Hello, how's everybody doing this Tuesday evening? Give me just a second. Let's pray that I can actually get connected without uh, cutting this off or hanging up. So give me 1 second. Okay, so I'm inviting some people, and I am also going to forward, and I'll be ready to go. So give me just a second. So, all right, I think I got that part, the invitation done. Give me a second and let me forward, and then we're going to get started. I'm super excited about this topic that we're going to be talking about today. So let me just forward this to my business page, and we'll be ready to go. Ready to go. I can't remember which movie that was where he said that. No, I think that was on A Living Color. I think that completely and totally dates me. All right, I always have a problem sharing this, so let me see if I can get it right tonight. Hey Ash, how are you? I'm just sharing this to my business page, and then I will be ready to go. Make sure there's no feedback. All right, so let me share it to my business page. Hey. All right, give me, because I always have a hard time with the administrative stuff of this. Posting this. I bet it's so much easier to do this on your iPhone than it is on my Android, because it's a pain in the ass to do it on my Android. I bet it's just like 1, 2, 3 little clicks on your little handy dandy iPhone. Not so much. All right, last share. Share on a page you manage. All right. Okay. All right. Yeah, I have to do it on my laptop too, but then you also have a Mac, so that also probably makes it easier too. So let's see. All right, I think I shared it. Hey, Karen, nice to have you. All right, so tonight's message, I thought I would do an impromptu live because this particular message has been weighing on my heart since last week. I came back from vacation, and in the station, I was watching the news go by, and I was seeing the people riot, and I was like, what's going on? I really didn't understand. And then, all of last week was about the riots of Charlottesville. And so I really, really try not to be too political in social media affairs, but people who have known me, hey, Rosanna, how are you? I try not to be too political, but you know what? That Charlottesville situation and kind of where I am in my business, I think have come to a head. So I want to talk about that in relationship to being a woman of color, a Black American, and ex-corporate person, and building an online business and what that means to me. And hopefully it gives you some insight into kind of how my brain works, and then hopefully it's helpful for you in your business. So for those of you who are just getting to know me, I want to just give you a little bit of background so you kind of get a frame of reference. I'm 44. My background is in IT project management. I have been a business owner for about 11 years now. Our family owns a barbershop. I've also owned a salon, and I've also started several businesses. I would call myself not a serial entrepreneur, but I am a serial small business starter. I love starting businesses. And so what I have over the last 10 or 11 years, as we have started our businesses, I have really struggled with a corporate mentality. And let me explain what that means. So if you are younger than the age of 30, you're probably not going to understand what I'm talking about. But if you are over the age of 30, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. So when I grew up and I started, school, I mean, since I can remember, it was you needed to excel at a level that was greater than any non-colored person in your life. And so everything that I was taught as a child, everything I was taught in corporate environment and in business taught me that as a Black woman in a professional environment, I am required to excel and be better than anyone else on my team, any way that I present myself. And so if you can relate to that, say something in the chat so I can understand that you understand what I'm talking about. And the reason I say if you're under 30, because I think younger people don't have that same level of exposure to sort of the silent Black racism that I experienced and people who are older have experienced, particularly in a corporate environment. And I say younger because, I've got a 19-year-old daughter, and, she didn't even want to, she's refusing to even go to college. That wasn't even an option for me growing up. College was my way out. It was my way out of poverty. It was my way out of making sure that I could make the maximum amount of money that I could ever. I was never going to get my lights cut off. We were always going to have food on the table, and things were always going to be good if I got an education and I got a career. And so that's what I did. I got my degree. I got a great paying job out of school. And that was back in 1995. And I got this job, and I was, got a degree in accounting, and I was an auditor, an internal auditor, and hated my job, hated it. It was the only Black person in the job. I hated the environment, learned a lot politically on what not to do, and learned quickly on in my career because I was very young. I graduated high school when I was 16. It took me 5 years to get out of college because I was, kind of stupid in college. But, I was fairly young. I was 21, 22 when I got out of college and go into this corporate environment. I'm going to fast forward because everybody knows the corporate training that you get from a mentality perspective. And so that corporate training that I'm referring to is the level of excellence as a person of color, because even if you're not Black, you are not white. Anyone who is not white, so of color, you understand the sort of mentality that you're taught from a young age to excel greater than your white counterparts. And so the Charlottesville incident has really put a limelight back on that for me in terms of how is that related, that sort of mentality that I've grown up with. How has that transitioned me into the way that I run my businesses and the way that I interact and the way that I show up and the way that I show my true self to people in the online space? And what I found is that it has dramatically impacted me. It has dramatically impacted how I show up in the online space. Because I will say and I always distinguish between having a physical business versus an online business, because the way that you have to show up in those two arenas is completely different. And so if you have an offline business and you started there and you transitioned to online, let me know that too, because that transition is also very difficult. But let me just give you a little bit more about what I'm talking about. So for me, I cuss like a sailor. I mean, I do. I have the worst, foulest mouth ever created to man. I grew up in a family of cussers. I was cussing as long as I can remember. I remember cussing in the fifth, in kindergarten, talking about how I couldn't believe that the fucking sun was going to come out on Groundhog's Day. That's how long I've been cussing. But I don't cuss in my professional world. People who know me professionally and know me personally are like, oh my God, I can't believe that she cusses. Oh my God, she's got a cuss, she's got a sailor mouth. And what I found is I remember I was at a bar with my husband, and one of his customers was at the bar, and I was cussing in the manner that I normally do. But it was a bitch to go online a few years back. All right. So And so that's what I'm talking about, is that transition, right? And really, like, how do you free yourself from that not the level of excellence, because I don't really care if I'm black, white, green, or yellow. I know that I am built to perform at an excellent level, regardless of my color. So that's not really what I'm talking about. But what I'm really talking about in terms of freeing yourself is about being free to be who you really are in the offline or online space in your own freaking business, right? Is to have the permission to feel good about who you are as a person as you deliver services and products to your ideal market, right? So I talk often about making sure that you know who your ideal market is, making sure that you know what their pain point is, and speaking to that. But the way that you do that, if it's not you, you're going to have a hard time, and you're going to still have a struggle, because you're attempting to continue to be somebody and something based on who you think you should be, based on that. And I call it my corporate mentality, because that's what my personal struggle has been. I have struggled to let go of the corporate Sunday and be who the real Sunday is in an offline and an online space. And so that's what I mean about being free. So let's talk a little bit about that. So I was telling you that I cuss like a sailor. I cuss like a sailor. I don't drink like a sailor, but I certainly am married to a sailor. So, and I say that to mean is he can drink any person I know under the table. And I have on many occasions tried to keep up with him. That doesn't necessarily need to be out all over the internet space. I'm not saying that I need to open myself up to that, but who I am is riddled with cuss words. I have struggled to let that part of my freedom out, because I feel like that's not the professional way. And so, whereas I don't need to drop the F-bomb in everything that I say, but I do cuss. And so over the last couple of months, I've been trying to be freer about how I deliver my message, because that is the way that I talk, right? I do have a professional corporate way that I talk, but that's not who I want to be. That's not who I want to be in the online space. That's not how I want to deliver myself for the rest of my life as I carry on this empire building that I'm doing. So I have struggled with really understanding what it is to be the free Sunday, not confined by the things and the lessons that I've learned as a 44-year-old adult, right? And so here are just a few of the lessons that I've learned that I wanted to share tonight, because Charlottesville, and as sad as that situation is, and as poorly as our president has handled it, I do feel like there is a lesson that I, as a professional entrepreneur, have learned in that. And that there is two sides to every story, right? There's two sides to you, particularly if you are transitioning from a corporate environment to an entrepreneur. You have probably created a two-version self, right? Transitioning yourself into who you ultimately want to present online will take a transition. And how do you do that? And so how have I done that? I will say that I'm not completely fully transitioned. I'm still, I'm still shucking some of my corporate baggage. But the first thing that I have learned in this online space that I didn't necessarily have to learn in a physical location space is that the amount of people that I'm exposed to when I had a physical location is a whole lot less than the people I'm exposed to online. Even though we have a thriving business and I meet a lot of people, I am not in front of as many people as I am on the online space, which put a significant amount of pressure on me in terms of how do I show up, right? I need to be this perfect person that shows up fully makeup out. That was my struggle last year. I had to be in full makeup. Like, I didn't come online unless I was in full makeup. I've got great edges around my hair. That didn't happen last year. My eyebrows need to be tweezed. And all this physical shit that really doesn't matter was important to me, because I thought that I needed to create this persona of perfection, because that's what I was taught. You don't go out in public with dirty underwear. You don't go out in public without making sure that you're fully dressed to the nines. You've got to have your full makeup on. And I figured, coming in the online space, I need to do that, and I need to do that double wide. And although I don't think that I should come online in my underwear and a bra, I probably could if I had a different type of group, I don't feel like I need to come out in that level of perfection. And what Ash often tells me, and she has been a great friend to me over the last almost 2 years, 2 years, 18 months, I don't know how long it's been, but it seems like we've been friends forever, is that people don't really give a shit about that. People don't really care that you you come in perfection. They want to see you imperfected. They want to see you at your regular self, and they want to get to know you at the regular who you are. And so I learned in my corporate job, you don't befriend people professionally, because they're going to stab you in the back. They're going to use whatever information that you give. They're going to use that against you. So I shut all that down. I shut it down early because I was burned early in my career. You don't befriend people. I don't go out to drink with people I work with. I don't do that. But that's not the kind of business I'm going to create. That's not the kind of business that I am creating. That's not the type of environment that I want the people that work with me and for me to be around. That's not the way I want my clients to feel, right? So how did I break it, and how do I continue to break it? And so I think the first step for me is just to continue to be aware, to continue to tell myself and let myself know that it's okay to show up as me, to show up as Sunday. Ash is always saying it's, you can't do you wrong. And I do feel like I do me wrong a lot of times, but you're right. It doesn't matter. I can still be me and be okay with being me. Be okay with the fact that you are going to hear some curse words. And if you don't like it, then you'll leave. That's your choice. But it doesn't mean that I need to curb who I am. And it absolutely impacts my message. And so from a marketing perspective, I will tell you that there are 3 things that are very important. If you want to increase your sales, I've got this formula, right? Right message, right offer, right client equals increased sales, right? But your message is dictated by you. It's dictated by your experiences. It's dictated by your ability to take your experiences, create a story, and connect them to your ideal client's pain and struggle or their desire, right? So if you're not able to get in connection with yourself, if you're not able to really tap into who you are and really show that real you, your messaging is all going to be wrong. And I will tell you, that's been my number one struggle. I can fucking do the hell out of ads. I can sling an ad together like nobody's business, and I can sling together some words, but they really haven't spoken to who I am. And so as I look at the rest of 2017 and the changes that I'm going to be making in my business, and hopefully the changes that you're going to be making in your business, if this is something that you struggled is be free to be you all the time, everywhere, always. Don't be entangled by what you've been conditioned from a corporate perspective to do that. Where's the relationship to Charlottesville? Where's the relationship to our business? Racism is not dead. Racism not only exists in other people's action, it exists in our head in terms of how we talk to ourselves and how we relate our ability to perform and our self-worth based on what we've been taught and conditioned for years. And so when I say I stand against racism, I stand against racism of other people's actions, but also mentally how I treat myself and thinking that I need to be better because I'm Black. I need to be better because I am better, not because of the color of my skin, not because I'm a woman. I'm awesome because I'm fucking awesome, not because of any other reason but that. So I encourage you, as you continue to build your business, as you continue to market, to be free to be you in your business, in your marketing message, and in everything that you do. So I hope this message helps somebody. It resonates with somebody, and that it helps you. So it was great talking to you. Do you guys have anything that you want to say, comments or anything like that? Let me read what you guys have said. So Ash, you said that you've traveled to different locations, but it was a bitch to go online a few years back. And Rosanna, you said that you're breaking out of it. You're breaking out of that now. And so that's really important. So do you have any problems, do you think, making that transition and sort of making that corporate break that you need to make in terms of mentality? Are you finding any hardships with that? I mean, I think my biggest hardship has been is finding my voice in my writing and in my speech that really reflects who I am and not sort of, my politically correct person. And although I don't think that I need to be crass or put anyone down, but I do think that I have a specific voice and I need to not be afraid to share that voice in the authentic Sunday manner, not in the corporate Sunday manner. All right. If you guys don't have anything else, it was great. I'm glad that you could join me today. Hey, don't forget, I love to do announcements at the end. Thursday night, I'm doing a training on how to utilize your Facebook group and how to market it. So do not forget to register. I will include the link in there. And then I also will be live on tomorrow. I don't remember what my topic is, but look at the events page and it'll tell you all about what I'm going to be talking about tomorrow. It was great to have you guys on. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.